Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rocha, Chodash, Ma'amath. I want to give a double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. I want to give a double honors to my elder apostle, Aharawan Ban Yasharallah of the Lions Den Camp, here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Harab Ban Yasharallah, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharallah here in Jacksonville, Florida. And now today I'll be coming out with a lesson, and it's on this article, and as it says here, this is an article that I seen about an hour ago, and it says, stand your ground if you're WHITE, two, you know what I'm saying, I'm just going to say two Jake men from Florida charged with first-degree murder after self-defense shooting. Now, it says here, it says two men face life sentences for a self-defense shooting despite claiming stand your ground law, and that's a law here in Florida. It says the judge ruled their self-defense ended when the victim retreated despite still being armed. And it says here the NAACP questions whether the law is being applied fairly regardless of race and background. And the truth of the matter is, it's not being applied fairly. Real truth, and it is what it is. How many Jakes, how many Israelites, how many so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have been shot down and helped to finish with all their living by Edomite police officers on the basis of, oh, I was in fear for my life, or on the basis of self-defense, when it was very clear and very evident that said Jake victims posed no threat. Now this is a situation where two Jakes, and I'm assuming the reason why it's going this way because the one that the one that got help finish with all the living was probably an Edomite, a so-called WHITE person, man, boy, whatever. But let's continue. It says Florida's stand your ground law is back in the spotlight once again. It says people are asking whether justice depends on who's standing in front of the judge. That's a rhetorical question. We already know the answer. It says according to News4Jax, the Jacksonville NAACP is throwing its support behind Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts Jr. Hold on, Salaki, let me do something. I don't need no interruptions. Anyways, it says Travis Roberts Jr., two Baker County men charged with first-degree murder after a June 2025 shooting that left 19-year-old Devin Powers Jr. dead and another teen wounded. If convicted, both men could spend the rest of their life behind bars. And it says that's really terrifying, according to their mothers, who say the situation has turned the last year into an emotional nightmare. Yeah. Let's continue. And it says here, I guess this the mothers speaking or whatever, but I'm not going to read that. You can read that yourself. It says the case stems from a chaotic attack in McClenny, Florida, which ain't that far away from here in Jacksonville, Florida. This is where Byrd and Roberts have maintained they fight in self-defense after Powers pointed a shotgun at them and opened fire first. Their attorneys, Salaki, argued the pair should receive immunity under Florida's stand your ground law, which protects people who use deadly force when they are reasonably in fear of death or serious bodily harm. It says, but the judge ruled there was a catch. It says, while the court agreed that the men initially had a legal right to defend themselves, that protection allegedly ended the moment Powers began retreating. Well, how many times have Jake retreated unarmed, no weapon at all, and was still, it is what it is. I'm tired of censoring. It was still killed with no weapon, showing no threat at all under any circumstance. But let's continue. But here they're saying the said we're gonna say assailant turned to flee with a weapon still in hand. But let's continue. It says the judge pointed to statements and begin so like an evidence indicating the defendants continued firing as Powers ran away, with the investigators alleging at least 47 rounds were fired into the neighborhood. We're just gonna say 47 rounds were fired. Because of that, the court denied their stand your ground immunity request, allowing the murder case to move forward. Because you know why? I'm just gonna be honest with you. Apollo was an Edomite, a so-called white person, and them two Jakes stood their ground, and that Edomite end up getting dead in. So that's why this is doing. That's why this is why this is proceeding the way this is proceeding. Because if it would have been another Jake person, two Jakes killing another Jake, this wouldn't be a major issue. It really wouldn't. It wouldn't even make it in the papers or be an article. But let's continue. It says the Jacksonville in the NAACP isn't buying that conclusion, and I'm not buying it either, honestly. It says organization president Isaiah Rumlin said the case is exactly the type of situation Stand Your Ground was designed for, and questioned whether the law was being applied fairly. It says the civil rights group released a statement expressing deep concern over the ruling and called for equal applications of Florida self-defense law regardless of race, neighborhood, or background. Of course, you know. There's another one that y'all can read that, but I'm going to finish reading the article. It says, meanwhile, both defendants are appealing the decision, arguing that the danger hadn't actually ended because Powers was still armed. As that appeal plays out, their mothers are left watching their sons fight charges that could cost them their freedom forever. The only reason it's going to do that because they got rid of Edomite. That's the only thing I could think of. Because now all of a sudden the victim was running away. Oh, now you don't have that right to stand your ground anymore. But Jake was running unarmed, not showing threats, not showing to be a threat, yet was gunned down. And them mother hubbards got off. See, this is how you know that this devil is wicked. But let's continue. And this is the legal battle now boils down to two questions with enormous consequences. When does self-defense officially end? Depending on who you ask, or depending on who it is, the answer could determine whether these two young men walk free or spend life in prison. And the truth of the matter is, they were drawn down on first, and then they defended themselves. But all of a sudden, they now don't have the right to defend themselves because the target is running away, or the assailant is running away. So all of a sudden, the stand your ground rule it stopped working as soon as the person that pulled the gun on said party start running away. So obviously, okay, it ain't no stand your ground no more. This devil is wicked. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. And woe unto them. That's what these devils do. They make unrighteous decrees, and this right here is an unrighteous decree. They made the law so you could stand your ground against somebody that has a weapon. But then all of a sudden, when that said other party has a weapon or whatever, but is fleeing away, all of a sudden the person that is defending themselves with a weapon, all of a sudden they lose their right to stand your ground. That's an unrighteous decree. These devils stay doing this, and that's why the Lord says, woe unto them. They're going to get destroyed. They're going to get judged by Yahweh Basham Yahushai. Point blank, period. These unrighteous decrees, these unlawful laws that these devils come up with. They write this grievance, and then they prescribe it, meaning they apply it. They flip it and change it when it's convenient for them to mess up Jake, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. See, the rules change when Jake get in the courtroom, but when these Edomites get in the courtroom, oh, the law works like it's supposed to. This devil is a hypocrite. One more precept, or should I say one more scripture. And because of this devil doing stuff like that, he got a lot to pay for, especially spilling the blood of Jake, our people. Think the Lord gonna forget about that? You think he gonna turn? He gonna look left and act like he'll turn a blind eye, like he don't see, turn a deaf ear, act like he don't hear? Nah, the Lord ain't gonna do that. The Lord gonna revenge He gonna repay vengeance to this devil to his face. Last point. Psalm chapter 10, verse 5. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. So this devil's ways are always grievous. This is a grievous thing right here. These men defended themselves against somebody that pulled a weapon on them, and because said person started running away, all of a sudden they lose their stand your ground rights. That's grievousness. That is grievousness. That's wickedness. What this devil is doing. They twisting and bending and changing the laws to try to get Jake messed up. But when it comes down to these stinking ASS Edomites, they can get off for killing somebody and spilling blood of an innocent person that didn't do nothing to them, because jogging through a neighborhood, minding their business. See, this devil got a lot to pay for, and the Lord gonna make him pay for it. This devil's ways are always grievous, but when it comes down to the judgments of the Lord, that's far above out of this devil's sight. That's way above his pay grade. He can't see it coming. That's why he think he finna start a new world order, or he think he finna clamp down and make Jake perpetual slaves. It's not gonna work. And as for this devil's enemies, he stay puffing at them. This devil, he stay puffing at Jake all day. He stay, oh, you ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing. What you gonna do? That's what this devil does. And guess what? This devil has that same sentiment around the world. Look at what's going on over there in the east right now, in the Strait. Also the Strait of Malacca, you know, where over there near Singapore and all them places at. This devil is over there boasting, talking about what somebody ain't gonna do and what he is gonna do. So yeah, it was just a quick lesson. You know what I'm saying? This devil is wicked, man, and the Lord hate him. And with that, shalom.